The Andromeda model showcases how you design your concepts, your hooking, your offers, your nomenclatures, and your testings for a cohesive, congruent narrative, because it's going to be used that way. So we don't want to have two different sales pitches smashed together and say, let AI figure it out or the people will get it. Like, that's just being lazy. That's letting your media team dictate your entire performance of your company now.
All right. Well, today we have got some pretty cool stuff happening on something we've never talked about. And I can't remember the last time I talked about this over on Perpetual Traffic. If you don't watch our podcast, by the way, it's pretty good too. We repurpose a lot of these. I think the one that dropped today was actually you and me from last week because I thought it was so cool. The point is this, is that we haven't talked about the secondary metrics with creative diversification, which gives you even better insight into how to diagnose when it doesn't really work. And this is a client you and I both know and love, cherish, adore so much. Great. The point is we figured something out with one of these secondary metrics that was baffling their team, and we're going to reveal that today.
Yep. And now what's interesting about this is I'm just setting up the columns for the presentation here, but one of the things that we haven't really talked about a lot is the engagement of ads and how they are actually affecting the Andromeda engine. Most people, and I keep hearing this over and over and over again, and I'll probably hear this for the next 5 years, just because people have been using those metrics as the barometer for the last 10 years, which is this ad isn't performing, or it doesn't look like this ad is working, or we have some poor performance in the account in this campaign. I've been on the hunt for like the last 2 weeks, and I found out that like my IQ is high, but like I can't remember if I put on socks today. I have a really good pattern recognition. That's what someone told me. They're like, you're not like the sharpest tool in the box, but you pick up on patterns immediately. I'm like, holy crap, you're right. Like, I get that now.
Thanks for the backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
You're not the sharpest tool in the box, right?
I'm like a low C high school student, like a C minus.
You're like a dull
with
Phillips head screwdriver.
Yeah, like paying kids for their homework and cheating. I got like a C. I don't know how that happened.
Hey, my kids think I got a 3.5 all the way through high school and college.
I got really good turning like C's into B's. You just connect the other hump and boom.
Right, that's what whiteout is.
That's
for.
Exactly. The report card was never real. But this is actually something that I've been on the hunt with, because it's actually kind of another revolutionary aha moment that we've discovered for ourselves. So to tell you where we're going, we have to tell you where we've been one more time with a small amount of iterations, just because I still get a lot of questions and this stuff is hard. So it's easy to kind of just go through a little bit of a review, because now I kicked myself when I was like, of course, idiot. Like, of course that was the thing. So what we're going to be discussing today is the sequencing. What sequencing means is, this is kind of a bad graph here. And I think that's probably, I'm going to take that bad graph and I'm going to make it 10 times worse, because I'm going to make my own. But sequencing
I like
here,
the animated version on that page a little bit better anyway, but
it's very true. Very true.
I like your drawings.
I like my drawings too. They're fun.
Yeah. Those look like a bunch of ads. Wow.
Yep. And actually what's funny is Sashworth 443 just said, I've had a few Andromeda campaigns fall off a cliff this week after 1 to 4 weeks of performance in KPI. So this is something that we noticed, and this is something that everyone notices, due to the fact that it's simply the fact that our media teams are disconnected from user engagement / media buying for the most part. And I don't say me and us, I just mean like the industry as a whole. More companies I talk to, it's like, what is your concept? What's your go-to-market plan for our new launch? Like, I don't know. The creative team's got some cool shit that they're going to send my way. It's like it is creative only now. So your targeting begins at storyboarding, because what Meta is going to do is they identify an ad that works well, and then they lock into that ad. Like, this is the ad that's going to work well. And I'm like, well, how does Meta choose? Everyone thought it was CPA or CTR. It's actually not. We found the strongest signal that Meta uses to identify what is going to work, and that's where the pattern recognition that I was practicing this last week. It is something that it says, okay, this ad is special to me, and I'm going to take this ad and I'm going to move it over here, and this ad becomes 1. Now the sequencing then says, okay, now I have to use all of these other ads here, whatever is left over. And now I have to build a sequence, which means which one now becomes, this one's 1 is locked in. This is standard. Now, which one becomes, 2, which one becomes maybe 3, which one becomes maybe 4 and maybe 5 and maybe 6. Now, this doesn't all happen at once. It's not like it shift spends around. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't shift spend around the main ad here. It doesn't really do that. So I had a sneeze. Yeah. But what we found out is that it usually takes ad number 1, pins it to the top, spends the most amount of money on it. And then it's going through and saying, okay, let's try this. What about this ad to this ad? Okay. What about this ad to this ad? That didn't work. Okay. So we're going to go back to that one. What about this ad to this ad? That also didn't work. So we're going to go back to this one. What about this ad to this ad? Okay. That's working. Well, how about this ad to this ad? Okay. That also works too. So maybe this one is now going to start to grow and spend a little bit. So the sequencing is not just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is 1 to 3, 1 to 2 to 3. 1, 3, 4 to 2. Like it's basically trying to identify a storyboard. Hi, I'm Bob. Thanks. See you tomorrow. Do you want to get some coffee with me? That sequence didn't work. Didn't make sense to people. He said hi, then bye, then you invited him to something. That's not going to work. What about hi, my name is John. Would you like to get some coffee? See you tomorrow. Okay, that worked. That narrative makes sense now to the users. So we have to look at our creative, and the SOP that we created, which we've shared here before, that goes through the Andromeda model, showcases how you design your concepts, your hooking, your offers, your nomenclatures, and your testings for a cohesive, congruent narrative, because it's going to be used that way. So we don't want to have 2 different sales pitches smashed together and say, let AI figure it out, or the people will get it. Like that's just being lazy. That's letting your media team dictate your entire performance of your company now. So what we found out is that inside of this hierarchical model of the ad sequence refinement, there is something that is like a make or break week 1. And it actually is hook rate. And we've tested this a whole bunch. We've tested this a ton. So I'm going to showcase just 2 campaigns. I'm looking at the 2 campaigns selected. I'm not going to share the entire account, but there's 2 campaigns selected that I wanted to kind of showcase that actually started in the time period of November 9th. And it kind of lulled. It didn't really do that great. So November 9th, all the way to December 4th, we've had a kind of a crappy hook rate, 23 and 23. They're about equal.
What is hook rate, John?
Oh, okay. Got it. Hook rate.
Some people do not know.
All of your impressions divided by people who watched at least 3 seconds. Very simplistic. So someone that sees an ad that scrolls by and says, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, like it starts counting basically. And it's like, okay, it was after 3 seconds.
Think about this.
Yeah. So it's funny is like, what's funny is you can stop on it and then it starts counting. And then if you scroll past before 3 seconds, you're not hooked.
You're not hooked.
Yep. And if it's after 3 seconds, you're hooked.
And all your impressions.
Exactly. All of your impressions divided by people who stop for at least 3 seconds. Are you hooking them? Are you capturing their attention?
Because it's impressions, it could be the same person twice. So
absolutely.
There is that. Absolutely. So it's giving you an indication that something is interesting them within the first 3 seconds.
Now, to overcomplicate this metric, it does dedupe by time frame. So if you have a hook rate of 25 and there's 2 people in there, and then if you shorten that and there's only 1 person, it will actually dedupe those people. So it's like it's a dynamic metric based on the time range. It's like frequency. How many people see this ad on average every 7 days to every day? Well, that's 1 a day, but you can have 1 a day every day. So 1 equals 7 on a weekly time period. It dedupes that way. So it will dance around a little bit, but we try to find the law of averages. Now, Meta states that anything above like a 35 to 40% hook rate is considered good to all the way up to excellent at when it reaches 50%. That's like tippy top tier, 50%. So when you're looking at this and say, okay, well, the hook rate is 23%, and this is essentially, that's all this is. It's, this is a custom column because it doesn't exist. The way that you have to kind of find this is go like ad by ad of a video ad at least. This is not a video ad. I don't know why that one is, but the video ads here and say, what's our hook rate? 22%. Okay. And what's funny about this is you can actually see your most important time period is between seconds 2 and 8. Those are your most important time to hook a person is between seconds 2 and 8. Why? Well, it might take my thumb a second to stop and start to like comprehend what's going on. That takes about a second. Stop 1001. Okay. Now at the 2 second mark, all the way out to the 8 second mark, if they say, I'm not really interested and they leave, you can have a fantastic hook rate, but your hold rate sucks. People are just not staying engaged. So if you're like, I'm hooking 1 out of 5, yes, but then they fall off like 4 out of 5 immediately. Okay,
Right.
this is not hooking as many people as we need, and they're not staying as long as we like them to stay. So
hook and hold.
Exactly right. Now, the bad part about this is that is going to dictate your, let me just go just to one right now. That is going to dictate what the majority of your users are starting on. So as an example, there was 2 different trailers here, and these trailers were sucking up about 33,000 of the 50K, and there's 32 ads.
We are trying to find that ad in your previous diagram with your MS Paint. You're trying to find that one ad that starts the process.
Yeah.
And if all of them are in the 20s, like Meta is confused. It keeps cycling around. It's not getting anything. And I put the benchmarks in the chat for you guys, just so you know. Like, these are straight from Meta, and these are very much in alignment with what we're seeing right now as far as percentages, which is amazing, actually. We're actually listening to what Meta is telling us. Which is kind of a crazy thing. Yep. So anyway, so this stuff is super, super important.
Exactly. Average Meta ad hook rate, generally falls between 20 and 30. 20 to 25 is considered average to decent. Yeah. Rates hitting above 30 indicates strong, and like 35 to 50. So it's like, okay, 20 to 30 is kind of like, considered decent between 20 and 25. And we're between 20 and 25. And what was happening? We were getting decent results. It wasn't going to scale. Yeah. We've added a little bit of ad spend. It just no one else comes in. Like, these things are not hitting it. But this is the thing that I think is super important for people to figure out.
Back in the day, though, people would say, oh, I need to change my targeting because I don't have the right targeting. Right. But in this case, you've got DMAs, you've got individual regions, no targeting.
Right. And now you can still change your targeting. It's just done at the creative level, which is beautiful. Like, it's all now back to what is actually happening. So as we look at this here,
is your dog back to chew the other earphones that you have?
Oh God, my ears are killing me. These things are like freaking like nails in my ears. So to everyone out there that's probably, I look slightly different if you've been watching the show for a while. My dog ate my headphones. So
like a bathroom break, and the dog like ate them.
Literally, I come back and I'm like, where's my headphones? And it's out in the living room, and he's just got like 2 foam pads in his mouth, just destroyed. I'm like, it was a 70-pound German Shepherd puppy, and I was gone for a grand total of 2 minutes. So he just destroyed it.
John Moran's dog strikes again.
There he goes. But so check this out. Okay. There's a weighted hierarchy here. And so the weighted hierarchy here is there's 34,000 out of the 50,000 that have come from these 2 trailers. Well, what do we know about Andromeda? Andromeda is going to start everybody in ad number 1 that it picked. And it says, hey, because these ads are basically the same ads, just kind of spliced together a little bit differently, that became 70% of where my users started. So if you think of this like the front door to your store, and you got 1 million people out there, and you spent $1 million to get all those 1 million people out there, and you grab your doors and you go, okay, squeeze on through. You opened it up a little bit, and only a few are coming in because people all of a sudden they see the front door and like, that was the front door. I didn't even recognize it. It didn't hook me as a door. Yeah, basically is the thought process that we want to think about it. So we open the door, and then we say, cool, we didn't let anybody interesting in, but then we're spending all of the rest of our amount of our money in these sequencings that they're trying to find the next best set of ads to use with the ads that aren't really working too well. Holy crap. So if you start off with the wrong ad having the most ad spend, the campaign set you up for failure by saying we chose the mediocre ad to start with, and then everything else is going to be remarketed.
Yeah. Although I see some emerging trends on some of the other ones that could bear some possible performance improvements later on.
Yep. And what you kind of see too is like the higher the hook rate, the better the performance. You kind of notice a little bit like
that's what I'm looking at.
16 and 650, but then doubled. Like, okay,
look at that.
We're starting to see some things.
33 and 129. Like, I know they want about a 200 thereabouts, 150, 200. So you're onto something there.
So I said, okay, we can't use these 2 ads anymore. They're just not going to work. I said, it really looks like these ads are fatigued. Now, I almost forgot something else that we noticed. All right, frequency distribution is almost capped now. So what's interesting about this, the reason why the sequencing works is because when you have a majority of your ad spend starting the people on these 2 ads, and they say, okay, I'm only going to go up to like not even above a 2. I'll remarket them harder at a 2, but I won't start and just say, hey, you're going to see 3 of the same ads. Yeah. So once these burn, it's up to everything else to pick it up, and it can pick it up and get better. But then you're basically like having a loss leader. as your billboards. Like spend all the money on the wrong ad. The people that say, I know it's probably not that bad, I still want to know more. Those people are going to be great. Okay, well, we just put the cart before the horse. Makes sense. We start off on the wrong foot and nothing happens. We can't open the door. No one comes in. So let's pause there and see.
I can't help but notice those ads are paused right now.
Yeah. So exactly right. On the 5th, or on the 4th, we paused those ads on both of these campaigns. Actually, we paused those ads. And I said, hey, is there anything else you got? I need new ads. We need to breathe new lifeblood into this campaign. These two ads are not working. We're leading the charge with the mediocre. And we're spending 60% of our money on the mediocre, says Meta's users, and they're our boss.
And this is a client that supplies the creative to you. We don't do the creative diversification on our end, which is fine. Yep. But you're like, all right, what else you got? And also you asked one of their smarter media buyers, like, how long have these been running?
Yeah, so she was saying that they were fatiguing 2 years, or they were fatigued 2 years ago. They were still fatigued last year. And I said, we definitely want to swap this creative out for sure. Like that is going to be a good indicator. Like if we already know they're fatigued, I still think that, yes, it was the best ads that they had at the time, for sure. They were. And
the crappy ads 2 years ago, even before Andromeda, are still crappy ads today.
Yeah.
Or mediocre ads. Like not terrible.
And I understand where they're coming from because this particular client runs shows in like spurts in cities. So it's almost like, hey, the ads that worked well for Spirit Store last year, they'll probably work again this year because you're running them in 30-day blips.
Right.
I get the process there. Right. The problem is they didn't work fantastic back then, and now it's even more important that they have to work fantastic.
Right. You got to work harder on the creative.
Exactly. So we swap it out for something else. Now I'm going to update as you can see the results, but yes, but I'm going to update the ads. So we now have replaced the top two ads with new ads. And what's interesting about this is both our hook rates went up about 30% on average, 27 and 37, but they vary between 5 percentiles per day, but they went up basically 33%.
It's fabulous.
That brought our cost per result down 37% on new customers, which in then tandem helped us increase our frequency because now those ads can be shown more often because they have a better hook rate. And the results now are 76% more new customers and 83% more new customers at a cost that is 35 and 40% cheaper. And all we did is, I'll grab that LA campaign again. And if I turn off the segmentation so that I can sort descending by spend, what you'll see here is these are no longer running and these ads are here. Now, remember, we went from like a 22, 21% hook rate. And now we're looking at this one. It says, okay, that's a 36% hook rate. So now the best performing ad, the one that is spending at least a third of the budget, has a very, very good hook rate. The one below it has an 18, fairly poor. This one is probably gonna be removed. It doesn't need a good hook rate right now because all of these users are being remarketed by that person. I think this one is just an image. Right. So this one here is now a 40% hook rate. The next video. Okay, good. So now when we see our average hook rate start to improve, and then these are like the one that's running here is now like a 57% hook rate that's starting to have some spend on it as well. I'm like, yay. Nice. The hold rate's kind of poor. But what the main trend is when we start everybody off, or not everybody, when we're starting the large majority of users in our pixel, in our campaign, in our targeting off of the 35% hook rate, we can sort of see that the hook rate now also dictates the better performance later on. Now, they're not all susceptible to this exact metric because it is last click attribution. But one thing to note, one thing that we found out that is actually a pretty good barometer of good performance is if your ad set CPA is lower than your main ad spend, good. This is good.
Yeah.
If 411, I don't care that that's 411. I want this to be down $100, and that's what it did. Yeah. So we can actually see that, compare the previous week to this time period here, our cost per result is down 33%. So 412 down to 274, even though people would say, yes, but that main ad is getting what the bad performance used to be. Do you see how that doesn't matter? CPA does not matter by the ad. It's a trend. Yep. And if I can have a good hook rate, everything else is last click. Maybe everyone clicked there and no one clicked there, but that ad was maybe better at converting everybody. We can't tell. But the main ad is bringing them in for more expensive than the remarketing is. That's warming up and converting them good. Open the front door. Everybody comes in. You can't let people in that are buyers because they haven't been in yet. That's ad number one.
Right.
But all of the people helping them as they shop should give them a better experience until they go to this front and then check out. These are all of your employees saying, find everything okay? May I help you with something? It's actually just additional salespeople popping out and saying, that's great, you should buy it. Like that's how these things are working.
Right.
So when we look at the hook and hold rates, those hook and hold rates, if we start our users off on a very, very elevated experience, but we have to make sure that the concept hook and offers are also very consistent and congruent. So we don't have the, hi, my name's John, see you later, want to have coffee type of scenarios. Then we can say, okay, everyone is being told this message first. Ralph, did you know that out of 32 ads, the first thing that they see is, would you like to buy a cup of coffee with me? That's ad number one. You say, okay, I understand the concept. People want to meet for coffee. Good. What's the next thing that we're going to say? Probably, where should we go? When should we do it? It needs to be the same next logical sequence in the steps of a sale for this to remain congruent in their mind. Again, these people are halfway paying attention, driving down the highway at 70 miles an hour, 2 kids screaming in the car. We have to make this very consistent, beat them to death with the same messaging. We cannot take 10 pieces of spaghetti. Wally fat people. You can't take 10 things, throw it against the wall and cross your fingers. Your story sucks.